What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Anata Pod. This is episode 6 with David and I. We got a pretty big segment to talk about today. So let's get into it. 2 shipping cost increases, 10 days apart. One for FBA and one for D2C. Most brands won't find out about it until their next settlement report. But let's look into it and talk about how we can fix this now. David, USPS surcharge is going to have an 8% increase. Doesn't really look like or sound like much, right? But why should Amazon brands care?
Yeah, that's crazy. Brands can't really catch a break these days. 8%, what's 8%, right? If you're a small brand, it might mean nothing to you. But let's do some of the math here. 8% on your average ground advantage shipment label, $4.50, call it for easy math. 8% is around 35, 36 cents or something like that. 36 cents across, your D2C company, you probably do 5,000 orders a month. That's another almost $2,000, $1,800, $2,000 of costs that you weren't expecting, right? If you just started spending $2,000 extra dollars on like a new software or something like that out of nowhere with a month's notice, like you kind of have to plan for that. So if you kind of look at the grand scheme of things, imagine like if you're doing 10, 20,000 shipments a month, right? As a seller, that's significant. That's a lot. And I have this gut feeling it's not just a fuel surcharge. It's mostly oh man, I'm losing a lot of money surcharge because of what Amazon is doing. They're dropping 20% of the volume from USPS. That's mega. That's huge. 20%. That's like their biggest customer is Amazon, right? And so that's going to be a huge chunk of USPS who's losing that volume because Amazon's going to start shipping it themselves. Why pay USPS for it when Amazon can do it? And they're going to do it for cheap because they got these nice, cool cars that are going to drive themselves eventually, which is even crazier. So they're going to send all of that volume just in-house. So huge news. Don't scoff at it again. We talked about don't scoff at 3.5% increase that Amazon's fuel charge was that just launched, will launch in 4 days. So another one within 10 days of each other. That's insane. Yeah, I would say we just need to be like unrelenting in cost savings and strategic improvements to just be more efficient in everything that we do. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I'm sorry, maybe I forgot to mention, do you know when this like USPS surcharge is going to start?
Yeah, I think it's like not even 10 days after the 17th, the 26th.
26th, okay.
Yeah, so April 26th, 2026. I feel like all of these should have just launched on April Fools because it's kind of a joke. It's pretty stupid. Yeah.
I know you mentioned that it's because Amazon dropped USPS by 20%, the volume of using them. You might have touched on just a little bit, but does that mean anything for brands that use USPS for their D2C?
Right. Yeah. I mean, you're going to be paying that 8% regardless. So I do think it's going to be a negative impact. Yeah, we all are hopeful that, maybe they'll, try and catch more volume, decrease prices, snag it from the other guys. But at the end of the day, I don't think so. I think they're going to just be charging that 8% across the board to D2C brands, buying those labels. And so I'm gonna drop a huge plug on the Anata Shipping OS right here, because we created the Anata Shipping OS because we run a 3PL, and because we run that, and it's not like some other shipping platforms where they don't ship for a living, right? They're just developers. Whereas I see our developer in the warehouse, like maximizing his time in developing a better software. And so I can't find another software developer that's literally sweating in boots on the ground and making sure that it's the best it can be than ours. His name is Kyle. I would say that the Anata shipping software, the way it's built, is so that it can like outperform your employees, by helping your employees outperform what they usually do, I should say. I want them to be the most efficient. I want them to just be able to onboard and go. We deal with temp workers to keep costs low. We need to be able to train those temp workers to be as efficient as possible. We want to be able to pull somebody who needs some part-time work into the warehouse and give them that opportunity and to be the most efficient as possible, right? Where we're tracking all of these things. That's one thing that we're super proud about Shipping OS for doing, and maximizing your guys's shipping rates. We're always making sure that, there's not a whole lot of flexibility in shipping or in fulfillment. Margins are really low, but I would highly suggest you guys jumping on the platform for free. Like, it's not going to be a crazy amount. We're not going to charge thousands. If we even onboard for 3PLs where they're spending $6,000 a month, well, it's time to change things, because you're going to get hit any way, what way possible. So start utilizing newer and better softwares like the Anata Shipping OS. I know that's a huge plug, but I warned you guys before plugging it that it was going to be a huge plug. So that's on you. But yeah, I would say that you got to save. You just got to save anywhere and everywhere you can. And like, that's what we have to do in-house. So why not share that knowledge with everybody else? Yeah.
No, yeah. Smart plug for sure. I wanted to kind of transition to like the tactical side of this thing. How to find and fix FBA inbound defect fees. What's your thoughts on how Amazon inbound defect fees go from pennies to now $1.74 per unit?
Huge, right? Like, huge. So one, they're like banking on, for all of those people who didn't use the labeling before and are forced to do the labeling now for their FNSKUs, right? Because Amazon's not going to touch that labeling anymore. Not only do they force you to label it yourself, but now they're forcing you to pay a heavy toll if you do it incorrectly. They're double dipping on that, right? So talk about 36 cents per label. Well, what about $1.74 per mess up, right? And most likely you messed up on every single product in that shipment. Maybe you accidentally to label one of them. Yeah, no, that's $1.74. What if you don't label all of them? Completely rejected, you pay for the shipping going back. Like, either way, you're going to get screwed. So if you're not like SOPing your way through this process and checks and balances and troubleshooting whatever you can to make sure that when your operations is pick, pack, and shipping, or packing for a shipment to restock FBA, you better get on it. Right. We'll probably have to create a quick SOP to share with our listeners so that they too can like review these checks, review the tools and processes that we use here at Anata to make sure that we're avoiding all of those fees. So that would probably give you and I should get together after this and try and figure out a good tool for other people to use. We're always trying to make some of these cool tools for small business owners to save some money, because this is going to be massive. If you make a mistake, like, you're going to see that, and you're not going to see it until your next statement. Right? You're not paying attention to that. You might see like, oh, there's an error on my shipment. You look into it further and catch it. But if you're not paying attention to that, you're just going to see a fat negative on that statement balance the next time you get your payout, and you're going to be wondering, why did I get that? Yeah, your FBA inbound fees have increased too, but not only that, but the fees have increased. And sometimes those fees don't show up until, 2 months later, until they like process them, and they're like, oh, I didn't send that shipment into since 2 months ago. Why am I getting hit now? Yeah, that's why, because Amazon will take their time on that. So another one, we're going to get heated with all of these fees that people are getting smacked with for these brands, for sure.
Yeah. I was actually just going to mention that. Is there a way that they can, within Seller Central, and you could just give like a direct answer, find out right now if they're paying these inbound defect fees? Like, is there a way?
Yeah, I mean, the first one is to go and pull your payment reports. Go within those payment reports, you're going to see them as an itemized list. We do a repository, and instead of summary, transactional, and then I create a pivot table to review those reports. So that's one way to do it. And then just when you're sending in FBA inventory, if this is not for you, the founder, if it should be for the operator, make sure you go and review that as well. Go into the FBA inbound inventories, check the shipment, see if there's errors on it, see what that error is, if anything, and then fix it. Don't let that last forever. If you do it once, what is the saying? shame on me, do it twice, shame on you, like that, or vice versa. Like, don't do it again. Like, you got to fix that, because that is super costly. I actually think it's the opposite way around. So fix it in post.
Yeah, we're good. All right, I want to move on to our next section really quick.
Okay.
Miami sellers, conference prep. The 3 numbers to know before we walk in and how to show up with an agenda. Let's talk about the 8-figure operator. How do you actually prepare? What do you do to prepare?
I think what I've taken this from this segment just before the flow is we need to just be using conferences in general. You need to be open-minded when you're walking into these conferences, because you never know what you're going to find. Honestly, you might see like great opportunities, and if you're stuck in your ways, they might go away. So I shouldn't say that. I'm so against events, but that's just inherently like because I'm just scared of people, right? But this is going to change my mind. You got to really push. You got to really make sure that you come prepared, open-minded, ready to have questions. Don't come in there like I already have the answers. It's not going to be helpful. Have questions and show up ready to hear any kind of answer possible. That's like my biggest thing when it comes down to it. That's going to be a Q2 event. It's a month away, so you're not going to, for most of you, go this year, but hopefully you prepare for next year and go to as many other events as you can without breaking the bank. I know they can get pretty costly, but that's a huge piece of it for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, David, is this conference just for like larger brands, or can like a 7-figure operator go?
7 figures, pretty big. You could actually do it for a few of like other options too. So like smaller brands can do that. You could do it for a few of them. So I would definitely show up and trying to attend it. Most like smaller brands, that's like sometimes make or break it. Most of it's just networking, right? Bumping shoulders, even for other brands, figure out what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong, what their pain points are. You don't have a lot of time with them, so just ask them, be blunt, be bold. And if you tell yourself, oh, that'd be a good person to talk to, go talk to them. You know, that's what I would say.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think, yeah, you should go, but going with the right expectations for sure.
Okay.
Cool. I mean, just one last question for you, David. And this kind of ties everything together, but heading into Q2 with the shipping cost increases that are going on, I mean, you have each of them within 10 days of each other. What is the one thing that an operator should do this very week?
That's a great question. Review the numbers heavily. That's what I would say. Go in, review the numbers, ensure that everything is visible, create SOPs, you know, and just make sure, review it. Hey, team, what are we doing in stickering? When I send you this, what happens after that? When I make the request to, a truck LTL shipment pickup date, what happens in between that? Like, dial that in as much as you can. Make sure that like the systems are built out. There's so much AI support these days to help with SOPs. So like I would highly recommend these sellers to go in, build the SOP out and finalize it and test it and make it better, right? But at least have one. This week, you should have an SOP. If you don't, I'm going to find you. That's it.
Okay. Yeah, 100%. So it's just like run a model, run the last 90 days of your FBA shipments, and also like include these surcharges. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Exactly. Yes. Okay. Figure out what that is. You need to know what those fees are and everything, right? So SOPs will include the cost analysis, and that's going to be a big part of it.
Perfect. That's all the questions I had. Thank you so much for answering.
Yeah, of course. And if you guys, listeners, have any questions, make sure to reach out to us. Go to anatainc.com, find the right solution for you, or check us out on our YouTube channel for more information. We're trying our best to pump these out. There's so much content to be created. So we're doing these dailies, and we're like, oh, we're going to have enough to talk about. Luckily, there's so much to talk about. So we would love to support anybody and everybody as you hear the rest of the Anata building cheering for the Anata pod. So yeah, we'll catch you guys on the next one.
See ya.